doppelgangers and members really don't want you to go anywhere but in a box of what they can control and dominate, right? The narrative that they put on your shipping box. Try to ship you off to, sell you off to people as whatever they put on the shipping label, as a description and shit, right? And they just sell you off to the highest bidder type of shit. But those are the same ones that gotta exhaust themselves. You gotta calculate the amount of energy that people exert to just be you. You know, meaning, like, look at history, yo. They came on stage as performative actors, wearing wigs and motherfucking lipstick, tights, and in the ballerina slippers, skipping around along the stage, as a narrative to entertain the audience, right? And the audience would fall into the storyline. And so they just took each storyline and just, stretched that shit, damn, that shit hurt. Stretched that shit out, right? To make it resonate with people. But the resonation was the confusion of what people actually wanted in life, right? It confused people as to what they should be going towards. Now here we are, where people are really confused because the people on stage were wearing, wigs and masks, who they really are behind the mask that they wore, the makeup and the lipstick and shit, and the ballerina clothes and all that shit, when they were really men dressed up as women, to change the views and the ways of, because they had them playing both roles, where the role was to be the pick me, where they had the submission and the acceptance, but it was all a game plan altogether to rule and control and dominate the mind, and making both sides really, you know, not trust one another. But damn, well, I deviated someplace else. But the person, that whole thing was to really take up roles, switch up roles, define roles differently, whereas people will believe a narrative more so than the actual truth, because the truth scares people. The truth puts fear in people. It puts them in such a hole that a lie feels so much more entertaining. A lie is so much more enthusiastic to speak on and stretch and run with, that it'll run marathons around the world on a lie. But the truth always stands still. The truth never switched its game, never changed its path. It just stays, they just pivoted when the motherfucking, bullshit came around, It really walked away from the fucking, the drama and the fuckery. It really closed its ears to the gossip and the rumors. It just stood on truth. Because truth really has, it walks in integrity. It walks in morals. There's the respect there. There's trust there. There's loyalty to itself and everything else like that. And overall, it's love, right? But some people really do, want to take up the role as you by trying to make you out to be either everything that they are, everything they want you to be, by trying to set you up well, hence everything that goes on in your life. Because some people really are paid actors in your fucking life that really did want unpaid actors in your life, where the path that they led you toward, really didn't lead you anywhere. Sometimes it led you to back to the same fucking place where you're repeating the cycle over and over again. But that's the basis of it. You're the one that chooses. But the beginning of the game was to confuse you altogether, to give you the food that will ruin your insides. Therefore, it dampens your gut instinct, your discernment. Cause you enough trauma and emotional torment that your heart stays closed off, whereas it doesn't even know what the fuck love is. And the mind is supposed to stay chaotic. Whereas crisis, shit, what is that? It's something that you can fix. So it's supposed to desensitize you, in order to accept and to submit to whatever is told you, because the choice is removed, because you were told to choose, more so than too much of you choosing yourself, the energies that come to you with the evil eye. Because how dare you choose yourself? How dare you tell your truth? How dare you walk in your truth? How dare you speak your truth? How dare you? Because the lie's been walking, marathons around the fucking world about you. Ooh, barbecue. But just like the energy it takes, the narrative that they gotta keep up with, and then they're putting on the suit to be a better mother than you, a better friend than you, a better girlfriend than you, you, a better wife than you. But they gotta manipulate. They gotta set up. They gotta emotionally strain you. That's where the spell work comes in. Let me feed you. Let's go out for a drink. Let's go to this table. You know what? They invited you. It's always to get you to go this way, that way, every which way other than where your heart wants to stay. You know? But the mind is always supposed to stay chaotic. It's always supposed to go everywhere else but where your mind wants you to go. Because remember, they fooled you on stage. Well, they fooled them. Because nowadays, whoever steps foot in front of your stage, your own detective, your Merkaba, will light up in such a way where you understand what the lesson is in front of you. Because it's there to teach you. It's there to give you a lesson. Either it's a lesson you already learned or a lesson that you needed. A refurbishing. What is it? Refurbishing, retesting? Retesting again. It's like we all learn something from every person, every place, and every fucking thing. But at the same time, are you learning yourself through every fucking thing that you're learning? That's a test of life, yo, because we can learn from everybody else, but at the same time, they learning too. But what part of them are they learning? What part of themselves have they actually taught themselves to actually bring themselves up? Because those they got to copy you, they got to study you. I mean, look how long they've been studying us, and they still can't get it. Because at the end of the day, we still studying ourselves. Anyway, that's been on my mind. I appreciate for you watching. I appreciate you watching. Um, but yeah, it's really just somebody really taking so much effort to be I am a better mother than her, or I am a better girlfriend than her. But that's devaluing themselves to be better than themselves. It makes no sense. But some people make it make sense to themselves, and it ain't supposed to make sense to us. But at the end of the day, we're all here to learn from one another. I'll be back. The most I got you.